Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 17 of Top Bin Talks, presented by FTF Canada. I am one of your co-hosts, Adam Jones, joined as always by my partner in crime, Kwame Owua. Kwame, what's going on, buddy?
I'm back in the six, enjoying myself, a nice relaxation Victoria Day weekend. Americans don't know what that is, so you know what I mean?
Is it Memorial Day weekend for them?
Memorial Day weekend's next week. So I got 2 long weekends back to back. You already know what it is. Two long weekends back to back. Nah, but it's always nice being home. The last time I was here, I was crippled in crutches and in a cast. As you guys know, you can also call me Kevin, K Boogie with the hoodie, because I didn't get a haircut. Yeah, today is just gonna be a light pod, talk about anything that comes to our mind. As you know, there's a lot of games that are going on in the CPL, in the MLS, and in the Premier League and all around Europe. So we're just gonna shoot it while games are playing right now, actually.
I know. It's like the best time of the year because you're kind of getting out of the start of the season for MLS and CPL, where you're starting to see everything form, and then it's end of the year, title races, relegation battles, everything in Europe. So
100%. Let's start at our side of the Atlantic. We'll go start CPL. Went to the for the last year's champs games, Forge FC versus the new squad, the new boys on the block, new kids on the block, Vancouver FC. And I got to tip my hat off to Vancouver because they ran for literally 90 minutes straight and ended off leaving with a point. And I think that's just that's a testament to them. That's the testament to the coaching staff, and their coach gives them a lot of praise. You know what I mean? Like he's not one of those coaches that when he's smiling, it looks like he enjoys being around the guys. He looks like he's experienced, and I think that management group and the ownership group probably know, like, as a brand new team coming into a league, it's going to be tough regardless. Things are not really going to form until after the first transfer window or the first off season. Then you'll get more into like, okay, what is the structure? What is the plan? What is all of this? So a couple good guys on your team. They didn't bring a full squad. Got to see that Sandoval guy that they got from where's Mexico?
Yeah,
he's a pretty good player. Like there's some crafty moves that he did, and I was like, damn, only like a high level player would know how to turn in that situation, like certain things like that. And me watching, obviously, as more of a Forge fan, because obviously I played for Forge, I was kind of disappointed in everything until it got to, I liked everything until they got to the final third. And that's just a Forge thing. Like in the beginning of the year, dudes just don't know how to score goals, and we let teams off the hook. And yeah, there's a rotation in the squad from Bobby and guys playing out of position, but I think this is a game they should have put away in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it from here, and like you said, I think like the one thing Vancouver's done as they've come in is they've tried to be really hard to play against.
Yeah,
where they're organized, they're set up. They try and they really do try, and I think like the biggest thing, which is what killed them against Ottawa, is they try and take away the middle so much. They try and allow as little penetration essentially as possible, that they do give up a lot out wide. And again, that comes from having a lot of guys who are more or less first year pros, or the first year in the league, or they didn't play a ton last year. So you're dealing with a lot of guys who are kind of learning on the fly as well. So it's understandable as to why in a game where it goes wrong, like last week against Atleti, it went really fucking wrong, but in this one, they worked their socks off. They were hard to play against. They frustrated Forge a ton, and Forge just in the final third, it seemed to me watching that people weren't on the same page. Like it's so funny because you can watch all this flow, like it's flowing. Saying it's to the final third, like the flow stops, which is so strange to me, because it's where you should almost simplify a sense. Like the amount of times I saw like Noah keep the ball so well, it gets to the final third and he picks a pass where you're like, that was the hardest pass possible
that you tried to pick out. And
not just tried to pick out, but you disrupted like the flow to even try and pick it out, when it was like, especially late, there's one where he's running down the line with Terran Campbell and Terran is already going past. It's like, just slip him through. And he tries to cut inside. Taryn now has to stop his run to not go offside. And he tries to play a ball through. Like, it was like you picked everything else you did was perfect because it was all within flow. And the second it got there, it seemed like the decision making was just so strange, considering the decisions made in their own third and in the middle third.
Mm-hmm. I always told people I look at the soccer field, the soccer pitch, like as a stop sign. You know what I mean? Like, your defensive third, a red light, fam. No, like, it's the risk. The risk is not high. Like, you'll simplify as much as possible. In the middle third, yellow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you got it, then you go. Just like when you're driving the car, it's like, do I need to stop? Let me speed. Let me get through this yellow light real quick. And then the attacking third, I feel like there just wasn't no sense of like creativity. Like, when Bex and Borges and them came on, then you start to see like more chances getting created, like isolation on the wing. And maybe that's why they created chances out on the wing like Atleti, because their dangerous players are on the wing. But like for Forge, most of the dangerous players are down the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you take away David Choinier, everybody else is the dangerous players like Becker, Woobens, or whoever's playing striker, Jordan Hamilton. Like, those are the dangerous players. So when they just they didn't really park the bus, but like they kind of forced to defend a lot. It was like, it's easy if there's 4 or 5 defenders in the box to cut out a cross. So how do you drag guys out and then order to play quick when you're around the 18 to get some?
Yeah, I totally agree. But like one thing I still find interesting was it's not like the movement when Borges and Bex came in, like it wasn't like their movement was different than the movement that was already happening. They just received the ball. Like, you could see, like, at least on, like, from the angle that I had watching on One Soccer, I'm watching going, movement's really good. He didn't play the pass though. And then the second those two come in, it's almost like, because of who they are, it's like, no, I better just try this.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, again, if you're that little bit more adventurous in the final third, when it's not them and you still try and make that pass, like, that's how you're going to break them down, because the movement didn't really change. But they received a pass, or they were, again, they're a little bit sharper. Yeah, but it was just like the decision to do it was there and they took it. Whereas in the first half, or the first 60 minutes, it was almost like it was a question.
Yeah, it's like,
should I play? Yeah, exactly. It was like a small hesitation, and then all of a sudden, now it's gone. Now you have to reset. And it was like, but no, like it again, like, that's the one thing I'll say for Vancouver. Vancouver, obviously, there's a lot of question marks coming into the year, but they've been really hard to play against pretty much every single time.
What's up, bro?
Not much.
Yeah, this happens when you do the podcast and well, me and my brother chill in the basement, so in our family foyer. But anyways, continuing. Yeah, but that's exactly what happens. I mean, Vancouver, they did well. I got to chop it up with Callum Irving after the game as well, and he's really happy to be there. Obviously, hometown hero, captain, loves the ownership group, and he said, like, he was the one that told me, like, yes, as soon as like the season keeps going, like, it's gonna get better and better. So he's like, so far, like, yeah, we lost last week to Atleti, but like, there's so much more to be like happy about, especially a performance against Calvary and then the performance against Ford. So 2 of the Giants in the CPL, and Ford should be very disappointed to not come up with anything. I mean, but now there's bigger fish to fry on Wednesday.
And that's part of it, right? Like, I think even in talking to Bobby, when we talked about the most games last year, like the streak of not winning a game, where that was the most it's ever been last year. Because he's like, yeah, you knew that there was going to be some sort of a lull where the guys were going to dip. They've played a couple Ken Champ games now. Like, they've played more games than Vancouver
right at the beginning of the season too. Yeah,
exactly. So they're still trying to find their flow. And again, you're going to have to chop change, because you can't keep playing the same guys all the time. And they've got a massive one. They've got a fucking massive one now.
They should have caught Montreal when they weren't so good.
Yeah.
Now Montreal is like peaking at the right time, and it's like, damn, all right, like, what we gonna do?
That's the thing. It's a midweek game, man. It's a midweek cup game. You never know. You
And I
never,
think,
ever know.
and I think ever since that 2021 bout against Montreal, they're not taking any CPL teams lightly because you see what happened to obviously Vancouver twice. See what happened like to Valor with TSS. Like it's like all right, anything can happen, especially cup games. It's a one-off, and these guys are coming in to make a name for themselves. Like people are really, this is the game of their lives. Some people, so it is what it is, and hopefully it can do well on. And then speaking of MLS, there was midweek games as well. Toronto FC played Red Bull to a 0-0 tie, and I think that is their sixth or seventh tie this year.
I know.
Coming off of what, a loss against Montreal from the weekend before?
Can Champ. That was Can
Can
Champ.
Can Champ?
Yeah, they lost to Montreal and Can Champ, right?
No, and then they played Montreal away. Because I remember Rich was playing right center back.
Oh my God, they did.
Yeah, they played Montreal back to back.
Been so many games. There's been so many games, man. Like it's so hard to keep track of at this point.
Toronto FC right now sits last in the Eastern Conference with 13.
That is unbelievable. With
13 points.
again, I don't think I sent you this, but you know how all of the salaries came out?
Oh, with the highest salary, $25 million on the salary cap. And that is $10 million, almost $10 million more than the second place.
Not only that, they did highest paid players per position.
Toronto FC had what? All of them?
4. Can you guess who the 4 are?
Rich.
1, yep.
Yeah. Insigne, obviously. He's the highest paid MLS.
He's actually not. He's actually not.
No, it's Driussi.
Shaqiri
is getting paid how much?
He's at like eight or something like that.
Oh,
like
I know Driussi just signed a new deal, like guaranteed like $7 million too.
So Shaqiri's 1, Insigne is 2.
Okay.
But yeah, Bernardeschi, yeah. So those 3.
So left wing, right back. Also got is what 1.4? Is it also?
He's not even close, man. That midfield, like
midfield. Yeah. Who else? Not their left back. Petretta?
Yep.
Is he what, 700?
850, I think. But apparently left backs, there's like, I mean, that could be a market.
I know.
Right, for MLS.
According to someone according to a coach on the TFC team, I wasn't good enough to play in the MLS. So I don't know. And I cost a lot. I cost a lot less than 800,000. That's all I'm saying. But hey, I didn't play at FC Basel. But I don't think. I mean, being in last place, you know what? I mean, I could have been there too. I mean, if you're gonna be in last place with a payroll of $25 million, you might as well just play all the young kids, bro. If you're gonna lose, just lose with the youngins, bro. I mean, now they're playing.
This is just like, it kind of epitomizes what's wrong almost a little bit. Like I think like when you look at that team, right? You look at the likes of Insigne, you look at the likes of Bernardeschi and Rich and Oso, right? Like the idea should be that you're going to bring in
also making a bag too.
Oh, 100%. No, I'm not even talking about
so wait, who's
I'm talking about just.
So those are the 4? Left wing, right back, left back?
Yeah. But it's just like when you look at those types of players and how quick they think, if you're going to bring in those players, you have to have players around them that can think that fast. So you think of like Mac and Bradley. Ideally, that's your center midfield.
And also.
Yeah, and also, right? So you're like, okay, there you go. You've got Rich, you've got Bernardeschi. It's not a secret why those two work.
Yeah.
They think on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
When you look at the young kids you're bringing up, can they think that fast? Because that almost supersedes, can they keep up athletically at this point? Like, honestly, like, is Insigne running around like crazy?
No.
Fuck no. They keep the ball most of the time. Chiefs probably have the ball more than their opponent in most games.
Yeah.
But if you don't have players that can find them in the right area, or if you don't have a striker that is going to read where their eyes are going or where they're thinking about playing, like.
Oh, yeah, they got CJ Sapong too. Okay.
Like, it's just like, it's you with guys like that who think at that level, you need guys who can think more than you need guys who can run. Do you need guys who can run? 100%, because you're gonna have to make up for Insigne not running.
Mhm.
You know, but it's like that's the one thing that I look at when I look at all the young kids. I'm like, they're all the same. They're all the same.
But in a perfect world, like in the beginning of the season, I think this their starters, because I was at the game against DC United, and there was no reason for them to lose to DC United. Like they were up
No.
to. They
I watched that game.
Yeah, they played bad, but like they came out in the second half and like took over the game. Like Rich got the penalty, like Bernadeschi was cooking. Like I'm like, all right, these guys are probably gonna win. And then like DC came back and lost. And DC came back and won. I was like, yo, what is going on? So then it's like the dependency on the big money guys. I feel like that's the old MLS. If you look at like every other team in the MLS, like the big teams, the teams that spend money, obviously, like Austin, yeah, they depend on Driussi, but like he shows up within the system. Like he's not the system. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they don't just be like, yo, here, take the ball and do something. I feel like TFC does that too much. Like also,
yeah, and that could be a huge thing,
Bradley,
man.
Yeah, those guys, like when they're all playing, then you see the more fluidity. And obviously, there's a couple unlucky bounces that gone their way. Like it's like, damn, sometimes you can't do anything about that. But it's like I've seen sometimes where managers give the ball to Rich and Bernadeschi. They're like, all right, yo, you guys create something. That's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. But like the thing that I'm thinking, like when you look at the TFC team that won, right? Obviously, you have Altidore, Giovinco.
Yeah.
Right. Those are your big money guys. But when you surround them with Rich, with Victor Vasquez, with Michael Bradley, but you look at the guys around Victor Vasquez, and then you have someone like Marky Delgado. Okay, Marky, you're gonna run a ton. When you win the ball, you see those four players, just give it to them. No problem. Like you're surrounding them with guys who think on the same speed. Like Giovinco doesn't run around a ton. On the ball, yes. Off the ball, no. Vasquez, same thing. You know what I mean? Altidore is your striker. Like it worked with the guys they had around who all bought onto a system. You had guys who thought at the same speed. And right now you have guys who aren't on the same wavelength. They don't think at the same speed. You know, unfortunately, Bradley's hurt. And older now. He's much older now than he was 5 years ago. Like Vasquez is on the team, but he's older than he was. Yeah. So it's just like it doesn't seem like there's a ton of fluidity within the group, which again, you look at who can we bring in to do this? But when you bring in guys who can't think at the same speed, it's even more disruptive. And I think that's a huge part of the problem. Like every single, like, I think there's an issue when you bring in someone like Jaquil Marshall-Rutty, where coming up, he's a 10. Oh, first team, we're going to play him at fullback all of a sudden. And you're like, okay, first of all, you never tried him as a 10 in the first team. But are we doing this because that's what we did with Fonzie and Rich and basically now Tajon? Because if that's the point and we're just trying to create right backs, maybe don't play that kid in the 10 then when he's at TFC. Maybe you try and put another kid there. You know what I mean? Like
that's the Thompson there too.
And he's been playing fullback. And you're like, what the fuck are we doing?
He started playing center mid now because obviously he's not going to play over Rich. But like, are those the guys that? But I don't think those are the guys. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Bradley's hurt, and I think Oso's injured right now too, or got a knock. Because I don't know if he played the last game, but it's unfortunate that like those guys are hurt. But you definitely do need depth, and like, can you rely on an 18, 19-year-old who doesn't really have that many games under his belt to play with and create opportunities for guys like Insigne and Bernadeschi?
No, and the biggest thing that I look at all of those, like I look at Cozy, I look at Jack, I look at they don't think that fast. They don't think that fast. So they're not going to be like being put in that situation. It isn't going to be beneficial for them anyway. You know what I mean? But the problem is that those are the types of players that it's not, and don't get me wrong, this isn't just TFC. Vancouver does this all the time too.
100%.
Like they're creating.
We're just only talking about. Yeah, sorry guys, we're only talking about TFC because of how talented they are.
Well,
results are not following. Like talented in every position, like GM, owner, coach, like, you know how crazy, like
They're proven.
yeah, that's why it feels like, there's, I don't know what's going on. For me to go on the score app and see them in last place, like, has me baffled. Like, there's really no reason for them to be in last. 2 wins, 4 ties. No, 2 wins, 4 losses, 7 ties.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And it's just like, it's just the one thing I look at. Like every single kid that seems to be getting developed through these MLS systems are the same player. They're all the same right now. And you're like, we only have one type of player in this country now.
Yeah,
that's all we have.
We don't need that many right backs, bro. We got Mo Farsi, we got
like
Ali Ahmed, we got
and Ali Ahmed is now coming up where you're like, okay, here we go. Like there's one who's a little different, which is awesome. Like, but it for me, it always raises the question going, if Stephen Eustachio would have stayed here,
where would they have traded?
Would he have ever come? Would he have ever come through? Would he even got picked? And if he did, would he never even would have got a shot? He wouldn't have.
That's a lot.
You know what I mean? Like that. Like that's how I look at it. Where I'm like, it's not that we can't develop these players or these players aren't here. It's that we're not identifying them. And that's not strictly a TFC thing. That is across the board. That is across the board.
Yeah. Like I said, like we're only talking about TFC because of obviously their wage bill and all that stuff. Granted, we don't know how contracts are set up because like obviously Rich is still counted on loan. So it's like, you know what I mean? You don't really know how that works. But yeah, it's just kind of tough. It's sad to see because like
it's also like the optimism that everyone had coming into the season because you're like, oh, you add Sean Johnson.
Yeah, they needed a good, like I feel like they plugged in all the spots that they needed. Like they really were intentional about who they got. You know what I mean? Like, yo, we got a guy that played in Europa League with FC Basel, left back. Boom. You
bring in Matt Hedges.
Yeah, bringing Matt Hedges, MLS veteran, still got legs underneath him, leader on the field with Bradley's not there. But it's just injuries, obviously, and then it's just like, at what point do we just, like, obviously because guys are young, like you don't want to put blame on them, but at what point do you be like, yo, you youngins wanted opportunity, like now you have to step up. Like you have to want to become better. You have to want to think on that wavelength as Insane. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you gonna go sit and like talk? Are you building a relationship on the field with these guys? That's important too. Like, yeah, granted, when I was at New York, I didn't play that much, but like when I did get the opportunity to play, it wasn't like I was out of ordinary. It's not like I didn't know what to do on the field. You know what I mean? Just building a relationship off the field. Like, or do you just go in the game and it's like, okay, it's my time to shine?
Yeah, like and again, like you don't know what's going on in the training pitch, right? Like, are you getting in early? Are you doing extra film? Are you talking with them at training? Are you staying afterwards and go, hey, like, let's stay afterwards, let's do extras. Like, I want it, like in the situation, like going through different pattern work. Like you don't know any of that, right?
Yeah.
You would hope though, like if they're in that position, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, especially with those players. Like, why wouldn't you want to talk and like learn from those guys? You know what I mean? But
yeah,
just tough. Yeah, 100%. Obviously Vancouver, after advancing in the Canadian Championship, I think they played to a draw the last game. No, they lost to Dallas the last game too.
They lost. They lost to Portland midweek too.
Yeah,
or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
tough matches, but
they're in that kind of middle ground right now, though. Yeah. And the one thing that I've said before, and I'll say again, I actually do like how they have kind of built through that Whitecaps 2 program with Ali Ahmed coming up, with Simon Betcher, who is taking his shot, man. He's taking his shot and he's done well. And so for them, I think they've been smart with some of the Kubas is a quality number 6 too. He's fantastic to watch. Gressel's been good. And then again, guys who didn't work out, they've just axed. They're like, yeah, you know what, we'll get you out on
the home is actually at DC United now.
Christian Dahomey. And that's the thing, like guys who just didn't fit. And that's one thing that's never really happened before. Whereas before they're like, oh, well, we're paying them this much, we might as well play them, kind of thing. Whereas now,
no, man, Vanny's like when I was there, it was like it's like a next man up kind of thing. And now that their coach is Ricardo Clark in second team, like it helps because he was with the first team last year. So like he trusts what Rico's gonna say. And Vanny's like, it's literally like who's playing better. And they got a man like Ryan Gold, who I think is one of the best 10s.
He's quality, man. He is so He's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. When I found out he was the same age as me, I was like, nah, no way. This guy's a baller, bro. Yeah, Ryan
Yeah.
Gold, he's a really good player quality. So, I mean, Vancouver is always going to be in that mid range. The Western Conference is just kind of tough. A lot of finesse teams.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's also tough. Like the other thing with the West is the West has so much travel.
man.
There's so much travel
Remember
in
I
the
was
West
telling
because it's
you
less
when I was at St.
condensed.
Louis last year? God damn. For like 5 weeks, bro, we went from Seattle back to St. Louis. Then our next game was in Portland, back to St. Louis. Then we went to Dallas, back to St. Louis. Then we went to Houston, back to St. Louis. Then we went to where did we go? San Jose. I was like, bro, you flying like 2.5 hours minimum every time.
Yeah.
But obviously now you have chartered flights and it's a lot easier. Like the process of traveling is a lot easier. But yo, traveling is traveling, dog. The fact that you gotta leave your crib, not sleep in your own room, eat hotel food that sometimes can be bullshit. It's not always blessed.
Buddy,
So
you look at like I'm just looking at like Vancouver, the West right now. Like Seattle, yeah, okay, it's a bus trip.
yeah,
That one's nice and close. LA, 3 hour flight,
yeah.
3.5 hour flight. Dallas, it's a 5 or 6 hour flight. St. Louis is how long?
From Vancouver?
Vancouver.
Oh, that's like a 4-hour flight.
Yeah. San Jose, another 3 hour. Portland, either it's like an hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half flight, or it's a 8 hour bus trip. Like it's close. Minnesota's not close.
Yeah, that's another 4-hour. Colorado.
Houston.
Yeah, bro.
Houston.
It's crazy.
Like Austin, they got to go to Texas 3 times.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. I'm telling you.
Real Salt Lake, Colorado, Kansas City.
Yeah. Yeah.
It stays on the fucking east.
Playing in the Western Conference, the only plus side y'all got is that other than Vancouver, Seattle, and Portland, every other field is grass.
Yeah. And actually Portland's pitch is nice.
Yeah,
like it's a nice
I'll say 2.5. It's like 2. Yeah. Bro, every other field and you don't have to deal with like weather too much, like, but yeah, it's bad, bro. It's because the climate in every place is different. Like Denver, you're gonna go there, altitude. Salt Lake, you're gonna go there, altitude, and it might be freezing in both those places. And then Austin, you're gonna go, it's hot as balls. Like
at all times. Houston, Dallas,
all times, bro. Seattle, the turf, and it might be raining. You never know. So it's just one of those things where like the West.
Yeah, it's also just the best that the Whitecaps decided, let's come up into our climate. Oh, let's put it inside.
Yeah.
So let's not even use our climate.
Yeah.
Fucking typical. Oh my God.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. But they're doing well. Like they're where I would think they would usually be.
Yeah, I think even before the season we talked about, I think that they were gonna be in that mix, right? Like they'd be fighting for a playoff spot, which is exactly where they're at.
We thought TFC was gonna be top 4.
Well, I mean, I think
it's still early, I guess.
I think when you looked at how they ended last year too, you're like, okay, the guys come in, they're building. Now they have an offseason to build. Mm-hmm. Rich is staying.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. It's just it really is just one of those things that you kind of sit there and you just go, didn't see it coming. But having seen it play out, you're like, kind of makes sense. Like when you add injuries on top, when you add like just everything that's kind of gone on.
Yeah, 100%. It's tough. Like, yeah.
But it's nice to see Montreal kind of start to get in the swing of things now and starting to put things together and put results together, and
their youngins are showing up. See, this is what I think about. You see Sean Rea playing, doing well. Jonathan Sirois doing well. Like, do you think like Jaquil and those guys should have went to the CPL for 1 year? Like,
I think there's something to be said about playing games that matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're now playing games, you're now put in a situation that matters. You know what I mean? That definitely I think helps. And for Sirois, I mean, Sirois went to Valor, so I mean, so did Sean, but like, guy faced a lot of shots.
Yeah,
a lot of shots, and it's awesome for him because that helps him develop. And at the same time, Sean's still involved with the youth national teams and all of those things going through as well. But he's playing games that matter against good competition.
Yeah, but yeah, Jaquil and Kosi still would have been like in youth national team setups regardless of
100%. And that's the thing. Like, I think it's kind of like chicken or the egg thing, though. Like, where are they gonna go play? Like, are they gonna play in the positions that TFC want them to play in? Or is now the manager gonna go, no, 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 I'm playing you here?
I think it's like if you think about it, how many people from TFC have gone on loan to a CPL team?
Luke Singh is one.
One. But he was never like a person that was like they wanted, but like wasn't getting minutes. So they're like, yo, TFC won't loan anyone to Forge. And I don't think it'll be vice versa. I don't think Forge will take anyone from TFC. No offense.
I mean, Kwesi Poku's an ex-TFC kid.
Yeah, the academy though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like a player. Like, you see how like Montreal loaned guys to Valor, right? Like, or now, I mean, Vancouver has their second team now, but like how Vancouver loaned to Pacific.
Yeah, I think I mean,
Ontario teams are just haters, bro. I can't believe it. Now that I think about it,
no, but I think there's a part of it though with those. I think in order to be able to do that, I think still you kind of like what I said, where I think you're gonna have an MLS manager go or an MLS franchise go, you only play him here.
And then probably Bobby not going to accept that.
Nor should he. I'm sorry. I don't think even if they say that, like if I can, I will play him there as often as I can when he deserves it. If all of a sudden you're like, I think he's better as you're kind of working for your own job as well as a manager in CPL. Yeah. You're not doing this for the betterment of an MLS team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really, really, really difficult. Like it's kind of the same thing when you look at like there's a reason why Bayern Munich have Bayern Munich 2, why Barcelona have Barcelona B. They don't want to loan those guys out to someone else because they want to control it. Yeah. Now you're talking about multi-billion-dollar entities, but they've got but they also have a philosophy of doing that. Whereas there's no philosophy here. There isn't there's no like as a club, TFC doesn't have a philosophy. Vancouver, Montreal, there
TFC is too. Do those guys play for TFC too?
But they could, like, that's what Jaden did for a while, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's that. Like, you could have them drop in there and they can play in USL and that games that matter. I think Jaquil has at times, but I think you need to give him a stretch where you're like, okay, just go down and go play a year. Go play a year, go develop, get better, enjoy yourself.
Like, what is someone like Jordan Peruzza doing? I feel like he's been in TFC's like.
Well, he was at where? San Antonio, and then they called him back from his loan
because he did well. He did well. But if someone has that type of confidence coming back, you gotta play him, bro. You can't just call him back up and then
doesn't matter what DP you got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. Like it's just it's really, really weird, man. It's really, really weird. You know, because he's now not training with the first team. He's only with this, like, because ideally you'd be like, just go down there, enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Get your confidence back.
Not even get your confidence back. Just like go play a run of games where you're going to play all the time, where you're going to develop, you're going to make mistakes. And I think like that's the biggest part. They have to go somewhere where they're going to make mistakes and not get killed for it.
Yeah.
You know, like that was Arsene Wenger's quote going like, I know that playing young players is going to cost me anywhere between 6 to 18 points a year. But I have to weigh up the option of playing the young kid to give him the experience he needs to learn in certain situations instead of buying a 50 million pound center back.
Yeah.
Who then I have to then teach there's no guarantee he's going to hit the ground running or be good enough. You know, so it's like, that was like my biggest thing with guys when like Sam was coming through, Bustos, Kians, all those guys coming through the Whitecaps was they were never given a shot. And when they were, if they made a mistake, they got pulled off. And you were like, you just watch this DP who you're paying fucking 2.5 mil for play like shit for 6 weeks in a row when the kid finally won a spot. Kid makes a mistake and now you're replacing him with that guy again. How the fuck does that work? You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of like the disconnect that I've seen so much of. Where you have to allow them to make mistakes, but it's harder to have that philosophy when you're paying your two wingers $15 million a year, and you're in win now. And like,
it is tough. It is definitely tough. But yeah, I guess shout out Montreal. Like Matthew Choinière is a big name that everybody is talking about as well. Obviously, watching his brother yesterday, I'm like, yo, you gotta let that man cook. Those guys are good, bro. I mean, I feel like now it's like a hometown team, Montreal. You know what I mean? I know there's still guys that are obviously not from Montreal, but I feel like everyone there is like enveloped in the Montreal culture.
well, I think that's kind of a huge thing that they have there, right? Like you have to, if you're not going to adapt to that culture, you're out of town.
Literally.
They'll get rid of you. So there's this idea that you have to come in and you have to be a part of something bigger than yourself already, just to be able to survive in that team, right? And that's one team here that we can look at and go, okay, well, there's a culture, there's not necessarily a footballing philosophy, but there's something about the club that is bigger than one player. And so that is one thing that club has going for it for sure, over the TFCs and the Vancouvers, without a doubt. But that's a culture thing, man. It happens with all of their sports.
Well, hopefully prayers up to everyone, especially those coming from injury. Hopefully Matthew Choinière can win himself a national team call up for the upcoming.
I think he's in that pool, right? Yeah, the
preliminary roster came out. We've seen some new names: Jason Russell-Rowe, Ali Ahmed, Morris from Columbus Crew as well.
Yeah, Aiden Morris.
We didn't see Mo Farsi, which I'm surprised about. But
that's strange. That was a weird one.
Obviously the same old guys that we usually have on the roster, and then it should be 53-man preliminary roster, which is really good. But the man of the hour we're going to talk about is Jonathan David, who was nominated for Ligue 1.
Right before we get to that, one shout out, Brandon Cambridge, first 2 goals in MLS for Charlotte, and 2-1 win.
And
massive.
Really, two really well taken goals.
That one where he switched to his left foot and roped around the defender was class. But that's a kid. I mean, that's a Vancouver kid. I don't know exactly what that process was, but I don't know if he's like, I'm not. No, like he Vancouver sold his homegrown rights. Okay. So I don't know if it was something where they worked out a deal with Charlotte. I don't know if it was part of the draft. If they wanted to sign Brandon went, I'm not coming back. I'll play out my whole years at Portland. Not too sure, but obviously saw a good situation for himself, and he's hit the ground running so far.
Charlotte has a good coach. That's my ex-assistant coach from NYCFC, Christian Latanzio. So he likes playing young kids, and hopefully he continues to develop. That's good for him, though. 100%. There's the more Canadians that play, the better it is for our national team, the better it is for future soccer in Canada. So,
well, the more guys we can add to this pool, right? Like, I think when you look at coming up where you've got Gold Cup and Copa America, I think the same summer, you can't play them all twice. Guys from Europe are going to get one of those tournaments. They're not getting both.
Isn't Copa America 2025 or is it 24?
Oh, you're right. It's 25.
Yeah, because they had to push it because of COVID. It was 2021. Because I remember I was in the bubble watching Copa America in Winnipeg before the month bubble. Yeah, we watched Copa America when Messi won. I was like, yes, finally. So yeah, it's 2025. Gold Cup is 2024, and then the World Cup is 2026. 3 in a row.
But even looking at all of those, well, I mean, the other thing would be if, say, Canada go and win the Gold Cup in 2024, they got Confederations Cup in 2025.
Oh,
so it's like it's almost like
totally possible.
It percent is. So you're not this going. If the more that this pool keeps expanding, the more you can. Not that you'd ever want to, but you can look at that and go, "Oh, someone's got a knock."
Boom.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. We can bring someone else in from another pool.
That's how every other country. That's how all the top countries are.
Yeah,
that's how it should go. But back to Joe David, nominated for Lille Player of the Year, 21 goals so far and 4 assists for Lille. Highly sought after striker. Hearing of talks of him going to possibly Arsenal, Man U, AC Milan, I believe.
Is it AC or Inter or both?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, and I mean, forget all that transfer talk, but like just for him to be nominated with the likes of Messi and Mbappe, like that's just dope. Like, I don't know. I mean, we were talking about this off air. I don't know if there's ever been a Canadian that has been nominated for a top 5 league player of the year. You know what I mean? So that's a great feat. I feel like every year, every place he's been, like his first year, he'd do all right. And then his second year, he'd explode. Every like, I feel like that's how it's always gone. Like at Genk, he would like what 10 goals. I'm not saying 10 goals is nothing, but then he would go from 10 to like 20. So you don't
Yeah,
like
I think
his production would just go out the roof the next year. Like once he gets comfortable, it's like, all right, yo. Like
yeah.
what's next? Yeah.
But the one thing that he's done every single one of those times in the first years is he's done enough to be like, yeah, no, we know he's the guy, and play week in, week out. It's not like he's getting in and it's chopping and changing and he's not playing all the time. And you know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's doing enough where they're like, yeah, he has to play. He has to play. So, and it's either like, yeah, goals will come. He's just getting used to the system. He's getting used to the country, all of the off the pitch stuff, because that affects you
100%.
massively. So like, that's the one thing that I think he's done everywhere he's gone, is he's made himself untouchable. And then the second year where he's, I've got my experience now.
Everything. Yeah.
I've got my routine. I've got like, I know what the food's like. I like, they're like, all of that stuff I think comes into play massively. Like there's so many different things when you actually think about, like, if you were to change everything about your life, move somewhere, like, okay, well, where am I going to eat normally?
Yeah, trust me, I went through it.
Yeah.
Twice.
So
yeah. So it is 100. Even though it's America's America, but the different parts of America, you're not getting the same types of food. So, but I can understand what helps him though is that he went from Belgium to France, and his French background, obviously he's Haitian, but going up at like, it's not really like so far left for him. You know what I mean? Like obviously still have to adapt, and like the people and everything are going to be different. But just like when you go to Quebec, the fact that you can speak French, you're already halfway there. Like, you know, even if you're not, even if you're not from there, but the fact that you can speak French, it's like, all right, like it's easier. The transition's a lot easier. But shout out to him, 21 goals. Hopefully there's still more to come. I seen Mbappe score a crazy volley the other day, I think. Or was I tripping?
Sergio there's some things that those guys do. I think that's kind of the other thing though too. Is you look at like the first year, like, yeah, you know what? Like what Haaland's doing right now and what Mbappe and Messi, like the standards now are so ludicrously high.
Yeah.
Like you see all like
score 20 goals, people are like, yo, that's not enough. That's wild.
I know. Like it's actually insane. Like I think, and that's when I think, like, I mean, we've had this argument. I've had this argument with so many people. Like when you go back generations, when you look at, so like there's a talk, like if Man City complete the treble this year, you have to pick your best 11 from Man United's treble winning team and Man City's treble winning team. Right. And guys are picking like Jack Grealish over Ryan Giggs based on stats. And you're like, you can't do that. You can't compare stats from the 90s to stats now, because now it's so like, that wasn't even expected of him. Like stats in the 90s were a striker.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that mattered, was a striker that scored. Like, like, you know what I mean? Whereas now, like, you need, like, your fullbacks are now expected to get so many assists a year.
Yeah. Bro, dudes like Maicon, Dani Alves, those mans just changed the whole wingback game, bro. Like once they realized that, yo, wait, I could put a winger, a hardworking wing, like wide midfielder as a defender, and I could add another attacker in front of him. Oh yeah, we up now. And then everything just changed. You're like, yo, if I have two solid center backs and two center midfielders that don't go nowhere, I can have my two wingers going, got two strikers, and then I can have my left back and right back going, and just keep these four guys at home. Bro, these guys just changed the whole ball game. Like Dani Alves used to be a winger, went down to a wing back, and you just added a better winger in front of him. And it's like, damn, that's crazy. But yeah, the numbers are ludicrous. People are like, yeah, Haaland win Ballon d'Or if he wins a treble. I mean, I could see that. Even though FIFA loves Messi, I could see that.
Oh, I think like just seeing how this oh, you know what though? Messi won the World Cup.
Yeah. And it's the way he won the World Cup too.
I know.
It's not
unless he goes but like I think the other thing though, he goes to the US or Saudi Arabia. He ain't winning it.
If
If he
he
leaves Europe in September,
oh yeah, then that's
no
done.
chance.
So
No
that's
chance he ends up winning it. You know what I mean? Like,
that's peak for him still.
I
But
think I think that might actually play a more significant role.
yeah, if City win the Champions League, you could definitely like Erling Haaland definitely just change the team. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't change the team already, but like Arsenal was still close to winning the league if they didn't bottle it, even with Erling Haaland breaking the record. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
granted, he didn't really stop Man City, like he didn't elevate Man City's hopes of winning the Premier League because we kind of thought Man City would win the Premier League regardless with or without him, or Arsenal would have won without them bottling it. So he wasn't like obviously he scored all those goals, but the Champions League is the one that like, even though he only scored what 7 goals this Champions League campaign, just to how much like attention you have to put on him, it frees
It's
up guys,
absurd.
it frees up guys like Gundogan and Bernardo Silva to score bangers.
Well, it's also like you look at it and you're thinking like, oh, he only scored this many in the Champions League. How many in those times? Like, he had a hat trick in 45 minutes, and Pep took him off. Like, the fucking guy could have scored 7 in that game alone.
Yeah. When he scored 5 against Red Bull Leipzig, Pep said, yeah, he said, you're not breaking Messi's record. But look, even if you think about it, he scored right now, he's at 54 goals in all competitions.
Which is absurd in the
It is
Prem.
absurd. It is absurd. But then you're like, yo, there's times where Messi or Ronaldo didn't win the Ballon d'Or and they were begging. Like, he was like, yo, what?
Yeah. Ronaldo had 70, but Messi
And he
had
didn't.
92.
Yeah. It was like, I don't even know what to say. Like, that seemed like, yo, these guys are different. Like, different gravy, bro. Like, it's absolutely wild. To score 90, okay, I don't want to go on this best year, but to score 91 goals in a year, there's only 52 weeks in a year. So you're scoring 2 goals two goals a week, and you don't even play for you don't play for like 2 of those months, 3 of those months. That's just unreal.
No, it's actually baffling.
Yeah.
It's honestly fucking baffling.
Yeah. But Mbappe also top goal. He's a top goal scorer in Ligue 1. I think like 1 or 2 goals ahead of Florian Balogun. Is that how you talk?
Balogun.
He's tied with Jonathan David. Messi has 16 goals and 16 assists or something like that, which is crazy.
15 and 15. Just
yeah.
And even that, like, I think I saw a compilation on Twitter that was like all of the chances that Mbappe's missed just from Messi's passes. And you're like, the guy could have 30 assists this year.
That's crazy. Because like now you become such a playmaker that you're getting like double and double. Like, you know what I mean? Double-digit goals, double-digit assists. Like,
also
like
crazy. You know who's tied with Mbappe for goals?
Who?
Alexander Lacazette.
Oh, he
26 goals.
He scored 4 goals in one game 2 weeks ago. A week ago or 2 weeks ago. They were losing 3-2 or 4-2, and they ended up, he scored a hat trick at the end. Like, bro, he scored like in a 92nd minute game winner, and they won 5-4. I was like, nah, this guy's the Lyon's GOAT, bro.
He's like, unreal, man. Like, it's
unreal. Damn, bro. I'm happy for him though. Obviously, how he left Arsenal wasn't the best, but like, you had to make room for the younger kids. But I'm happy banging 26 goals in Ligue 1, still solid. But
massively.
Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund are also fighting for the Bundesliga title. I think it's like 1 point separating them.
I think, is it Borussia Dortmund still have 1 point up?
So Bayern Munich is 1
Bayern are 1. That's coming down to the wire too. Like, it's the one thing, man. Like, I think that's just one thing that I find that playoff structure takes away from. Like, who cares about winning the league, really? You know, like, it's unfortunate. Especially when you look at the rest of the world and you look at what title races are coming down to, what relegation races are coming down to, what promotion.
It does promotion, but like in North America, I mean, I think winning the league in North America still matters now because like community, like not a community shield. What is it? It's a supporter shield. Yeah, it's still a bid to Champions League. You know what I mean? Like MLS kind of mattered, like, but obviously CPL now too. Like now you have to win the league to get that bid to Champions League. but just the promotion relegation, the relegation part is the what is not happening. So it doesn't make it as passionate.
Yeah, exactly. It just and again though, I don't think you could do that because again, if the Whitecaps got relegated, I'm gonna go support Vancouver FC. No, you stay with them. You don't leave. Like
yeah,
you don't leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the part where it's not quite as and that's the cultural side of it, right? Like, it's not really ingrained in us that way. Because like even just oh my god, you see the video of who was it? Was it Sheffield Wednesday down 4-0?
Oh yeah, no Sheffield.
Leg?
Sheffield. Yeah, it was Sheffield.
Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah,
yeah, bro.
They win 5-1.
5-1. Yeah, in the 90. Bro, I was like in extra time. I was like, nah, no.
Unreal. Like and then they go on to win in extra time after
against
that.
Luton,
Like,
against Luton Town, right?
No, this was League One. This was I think this is to get up to the championship. I think it was against. I thought it was against Peterborough.
Bro, I seen the highlights, bro. That shit was crazy.
But like that's League One. That's the third division in England.
Rocking. But Sheffield Wednesday is kind of like almost like an historic team. Like
yeah, they are.
Old, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. That shit is crazy. Even when you think about the whole what was it? The Watford one. Remember the Watford one? The
Leicester against Leicester.
Yeah.
It was Leicester. It was Leicester that missed. And then they went Troy Deeney. Troy Deeney scored.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that shit's crazy. Like that shit just gives you fucking goosebumps. You're like, wow, that shit is unbelievable.
But like the part of that I look at that makes it so special is Sheffield Wednesday are now hosting the second leg. They're down 4-0 and all of their fans show up to support them.
Yeah.
That would not happen here. No. It wouldn't.
People would have given up after the first leg.
You know what I mean? And for them it's like fans like, no, we play our role, we're going at it and we're doing this. And it was fucking awesome. Like those videos and even the Leicester one, you think about it, you're like the Leicester Watford one, you're like, that'll never happen again. Yeah. And you're like, just a couple years later, it does. It does, and it does, and it does. And like, and it's the Wrexham. And again, like Ryan Reynolds and McElhenney doing the Wrexham thing, getting them promoted and
grabbing fucking what's that man? Was it Forster or was it
Fraser Ben Foster.
Ben Foster, yeah, to get a man from the Prem to just come. He's like, yo, I'll come play for my hometown team.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. He was retired. Ben was retired, but Ben went on loan to Wrexham.
Yeah,
so he'd already spent time there. When he was at, yeah. So he fell in love with the club while he was there.
Yeah, and then like, I'll come out of retirement, bro, to play.
Yeah,
look what he did, bro. So like, there's so many cool stories like that like hopefully North America can develop that type of culture and like passion behind it, but obviously like time will tell. The one thing that I was gonna say about Man City, obviously we were talking off camera, Man City slapping up Real Madrid. I've never seen, like I was saying, like I've never seen domination like that since like the Barcelona beating Real Madrid 5-0, and I was like, damn, because Real Madrid is usually a Champions League team. Like you never count them out. Like even in the first half, what was it? What was the score in the first half? 1-0?
2-0. Bernardo Silva got a brace.
Yeah. Like even then, you were just like, I don't know. They were 2-0 down against Liverpool at Anfield and came back and smoked them boys 5-2. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, damn. Like regardless of even how Liverpool was doing in the Premier League at that time, it's still Liverpool at Anfield. You know what I mean? And you're down. They're up 2-0. So Real Madrid, they're usually a team that knows how to win those one-off games, but that was utter domination from Man City. I think Pep just got it right, and
they're firing on all cylinders right now.
Does he win Coach of the Year? Does Newcastle win Coach of the Year? Is it Eddie Howe? Is it Howe? Or is it Brighton? Or is it Brighton's coach that wins Coach of the Year?
How about Brentford's Thomas Frank?
Or does Mikel Arteta?
Or Ten Hag, like it's Pep won't win it. Pep won't.
I think because they're going to win the treble. They should win the treble. That like they're like, all right, you won everything. Like you don't need like Coach of the Year, and you're gonna win. And you're gonna win Player of the Year. Haaland's gonna get Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year,
which he deserves both. He
deserves both.
He absolutely should get both.
Yeah. So like, Man City, they're probably gonna be like, yeah, Man City can't sweep the awards. But even
beyond that, like
who would you give it to? I'm giving it to Newcastle. I'm giving it to Eddie Howe.
I think Eddie Howe, just because he's kept them in the Champions League. Like, I think you have to give it to him. But even that, like, I think if you look at the coach of the year, like, I do think that Eddie Howe, Thomas Frank, and Matteo De Zerbi, I think those three have done a better job with their squads than Arteta and Pep. Like, it's ludicrous to say that, but what they've done has been ridiculous
What
for
they've done with what
the
they
money
have.
they've
That's
spent.
what
Yeah,
makes it
exactly. I
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Like, and that's the one thing. I don't think Newcastle have spent crazy money. They spent really fucking intelligently.
Yeah.
They spent really
bro,
smart.
Isak is a baller, bro.
Isaac, who is it? Bruno
Guimaraes, yeah.
Guimaraes. Yeah, I can never pronounce his last name.
Bro, and
Guimaraes.
then Miguel
Kieran Trippier.
Almiron taking that next step. Trippier, yeah. Almiron taking
And
that
Burn
next
at left
step,
back. You have a
Yeah.
6'5" left back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow.
Buying Nick Pope too to go
Yeah.
on goal to shore that up. Like,
I think, but honestly,
Callum Wilson, another
it has,
really
it has,
astute
it has to
buy.
be between Eddie Howe or the Brighton
I feel, and
the
but
Brighton
Bray,
coach,
don't
because
sleep
they
on
sold
Brentford. Don't
Trossard.
sleep-
They sold their best player in the middle of the season to the top team in the Prem. Trossard got a
Brighton
hat trick against
also
your boys,
lost.
Man U.
Who else did they
Beginning of the
lose?
season?
Brighton also lost Graham Potter in the middle of the season. They also
Yeah, lost
manager
their
in the
coach
middle of the
too.
season.
Manager in the middle of the season.
Like,
That's great. And we were saying like, yo, he should have never left.
yeah,
Now
I
he
know.
has a good job.
yeah. I remember having that debate too, being like, do you take it? Do you
Yeah.
not? Like,
It's like,
but-
yo, you literally triple your wages
for
Like-
the next 5 years because he signed a
Yeah.
long-term deal.
exactly. So it's like, but then it's like now you look at Brighton, bro. Nah, man, I don't know. It's between them two. It has to be because Brighton, yo, like the way they play, it's like, yo, there's no reason for these guys to be this nice. It's pure coaching.
Yeah. For
Like, and then
But,
it's
like, I
Matoma.
still look at Thomas Frank at third too. Oh, Matoma, what a buy that was.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
It's
The only
like-
thing was, so someone else put this out there going like, because people are talking about obviously like, oh, Brighton, what are they doing right compared to other clubs and how are they buying? But someone threw out there was like, we've seen this before. This was Southampton. Southampton had
Sadio Mane.
Sadio
all those
Mane.
guys.
They had Graziano Pella. They had Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
They like
Romeu came from Barcelona.
Romeu. Like,
Yeah.
they
Bro.
had this was
Yeah, Sadio Mane, bro. That's jokes.
James Rodriguez was
Yeah.
banging goals for them. Like,
That's what I feel. You know who I feel bad for on Southampton? James Ward-Prowse, bro.
yeah, they're viral. Morgan Schneiderlin, like they had
Yeah.
all they.
Schneiderlin, the man went to Man U.
He was unreal. He was unreal. But like, look at their
Wow.
look at the guys they bought. You're only a
That's
couple. You are only a couple buys away though from getting
Liverpool tied
relegated.
1-1, by the way.
I know. I saw. Fuck sakes, man. Like Firmino, 89th minute, just has to make my life that much more stressful.
That's crazy.
But you look at that one.
Clutch.
You look at it, it's Leicester as well, though.
Yeah.
Leicester had all these
So
great
sad.
buys and had to sell guys on, and now they're fighting relegation. Like that's the one thing about those clubs is like you can look at like, oh, like why are they buying better than other?
Is
Well,
Brandon Rodgers still the coach of Leicester?
Got
No.
sacked, I think. Pretty sure he got sacked. Didn't he?
I have no idea because
I thought he did.
I don't know.
I thought he did.
But Leicester still has guys like James Madison going to the championship. No chance, bro. Someone's
No,
buying.
he's sold. He's sold.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
There's the lot of them are sold. Are
Yeah,
getting sold.
Jamie
Um,
Vardy, James Madison. Jamie Vardy might stay just
Vardy
because
probably stick around. I would
Yeah.
assume he sticks around. But it's
33.
35, 36.
Really?
I think so.
Oh yeah, he was like 28 when they won the Prem. Like, no, like he was.
Yeah, he's old.
He was old on the older side.
Yeah.
James Madison's gone.
Madison's gone for sure. Yeah,
Madison's
Jamie Vardy's 36, man. Guy
Yeah.
moves, he moves like that for a 36-year-old. It's
Yeah.
unreal.
Tillemans is gone.
Mhm.
Ricardo Pereira is
In-
gone.
Indeed, he's gone.
Indeed, he's gone.
Harvey Barnes gone.
Bro, there's no reason for y'all to be bad, bro. Their center backs are really bad though. That
Yeah.
man that looks like David Luiz, he's
What is
bad.
it? Vout face.
Phase or whatever.
Vout
Bro, he's
face.
bad, bro.
Yeah.
He's bad.
No, but like that's the thing though. Like those clubs are like, I think that's part of it. Like you are only a couple buys from players not working out from that.
Yeah.
Like you are.
Yeah.
which is kind of that thing where it's like that, Brendan Rodgers is a top manager.
Yeah.
Like he's a top manager.
He
Like
is.
look at Claudio Ranieri, wins the Prem and then loses a couple players. Those buys can't replace. Like, I mean, Brighton are going to lose McAllister. Who
Yeah.
are you
And they
replacing
probably
him
might,
with?
and they might lose Matoma.
Matoma, Evan
And
Ferguson
who's
up top.
and yeah, they said they were gonna lose because I seen an article. Even the coach said, yeah, we might lose McAllister and someone else.
Pascal Grosch is another one. Caicedo.
What's that? What's that? March? That lefty.
Sully March, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that you might lose to bigger clubs who have the money, and you kind of have to sell them. Like, so you're always in that battle at that point, right? Like it's just it's tough, and there's no guarantee that those players when they leave are gonna be great at these other clubs either, which is crazy.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes those players are just good at small teams because like it's just them. It suits them.
They fit with the system and the coach at that time. Like it at the same time though, it's not a secret and I don't think it's ridiculous to look at like Toby Alderweireld at Southampton. What a player. Goes to Tottenham. Oh my God. He played for Poch. He just followed the manager. Like that one made sense to me. Yeah. That one made sense. But when you go
Tottenham's another team that's lacking. They got boxed up 3-1 by Brentford. Lacking.
Brentford.
Harry Kane gotta go too, bro.
He's gone. He's gone.
He should have left the first time. The first time his contract was up, he should have left. Mm-hmm. Unless their coach unless their owner threw some crazy money at the man. All right, but he gotta go, bro.
I think he's gone.
Gotta go.
Someday, and he's going to United.
Would you rather him or that's a dumb question. I was gonna say, would you rather him or Jonathan David? But I know you take
Harry Kane.
Yeah, I know you're gonna take Harry Kane.
But you know what is? You know what is actually insane right now though? There's only one team in London that is below Chelsea in the standings.
And that's Tottenham. No, not Tottenham. My bad. No, Tottenham.
One. West Ham.
Damn.
Palace, Fulham, Brentford, Tottenham.
Yeah.
Arsenal are all ahead of them. They're 6th out of 7. They don't even make Champions League in London.
Damn. Oh, wow, bro.
That is.
But now there's like you wait. Now there's like you wait for Conference League now too, right?
Yeah. Pochettino though. Pochettino to Chelsea. Big news.
Oh, it came out?
Yep.
That's a great pickup. A lot of those guys are gone though.
He's gonna sell half of the squad.
Yeah, a lot of them fools is gone. Hey, shout out to Jose Mourinho, bro. Ever since I watched that All or Nothing Tottenham, I've gotten I got to understand Jose Mourinho a lot better, and I fuck with him. I used to be like, this guy's like, but he rides or dies for his players, bro. And I shit out of that, bro. Because I always knew he was a good manager, but maybe it's because he was Madrid's manager, and I was in high school, and I was naive, and I was a big Barca fan, still a big Barca fan, and I was like, fuck them, fuck Mourinho. And then like my Portuguese friends, because I went to a school that's primarily Portuguese and Italian, and the Portuguese friends used to be like, yo, Ronaldo, Jose Mourinho, blah, 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 and arguing every day about that shit, right? So these guys made me hate Jose Mourinho. But then fast forward, when you start to understand soccer at a higher level, like when he went to Man U and was able to win Europa League with that Man U squad that everybody thought was trash and finished second place in the Prem, I was like, hold on. There's something about this man that has Ibra at 36 years old, busting net in the Premier League at a top level, had Pogba playing like the second coming. That was what, World Cup year, 2018? When Mourinho was
2017. I think they sacked him.
Yeah, but like going into the World Cup year, like that 2018 Pogba World Cup, balling with Conte. It's just like, and then he goes to where do you go after that? Man,
Mourinho went to Tottenham.
He went to Tottenham, and then Tottenham, what, top 4?
I don't know.
Just watching them, just watching that All or Nothing, I'm like, yo, this guy actually, he was more like a dad than a coach. You know what I mean? Like a player manager than a coach. Like he really cared for his players, and just to see that, it was amazing. Now that to see what he's doing with Roma, I'm like, yo, this guy's a legend. Like,
yeah, No,
This
getting
guy
back
back
to
to
Europa
back,
League final,
yeah,
it's
Europa League
unreal.
finals, like it's unreal, bro. He like
Yeah,
he
he's
had a
actually
team. Yeah, he had a team buy in to just defending that this past leg. He was like, yo, these guys are gonna throw everything at us. He's like, yo, if you work hard and defend and give them nothing, you will go to the final. That's what he probably told them. And they're like, you know what? I trust this guy. He did it
yeah.
last year, gonna do it again.
He's also someone who I think from like the player management side has adapted. Because like you hear the stories of like when John Terry talks about when he came in.
Yeah.
You were like, yeah, he wasn't really like he is now, which is again part of like an evolution of a coach, right? He still has the same principles. And again, all those Chelsea guys fucking love for what he did and how much he challenged them to do these things. And they talk about that stuff. But no, man, he was a top manager. The only thing for me, like when he came to United, I was like, it's not gonna work.
Because of his style of play.
Exactly. That's the only thing. I was like, as far from a managerial standpoint, oh my God. 100%. Like
it didn't make sense why these guys didn't like him, because like, is Man U a results business or an entertainment business?
Entertainment.
It has to be both.
But the whole idea is that if we're entertaining, we'll win. And like you look at those teams when they do have them, like again, like because you're Man United, you're gonna have.
But Mourinho just proved it wrong, because like Man U wasn't entertaining, but y'all still won. So like, what's the
difference? No, but you didn't. Yeah, but you didn't.
But like you have to.
Won, but yeah, not,
but the team that he got, that he inherited, it's not his fault that they were in the Europa League. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. It's not. And he
finished in second in the Prem. So it's like, yo, I didn't play entertaining football and I still won the Europa League.
Yeah, but that's not good enough though. You have to do both. And the bigger problem with the way that they played is like it has to be fast paced. You have to be on the front foot. You have to be attacking all this stuff. So he's not that type of manager, which is fine. There's a reason why I never wanted Conte. I didn't want Conte to ever step foot at Man United.
So you're saying you rather Ten Hag than that Mourinho?
100%. Right now, the way it's built up, don't get me wrong. I don't think Ten Hag would have had as good a job.
I'm saying like Ten Hag was there with that Man U team. You think he would have done better?
No, I don't think he would have done better.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do think though in Ten Hag's system, I think for me, because again, there's a lot of rifts between Pogba and Mourinho, which understandably, like, but I think that Man United team would have played better. I think they still could have won Europa League, still could have finished second, but I think Pogba probably would have flourished a little bit more. Like you look at what Christian Eriksen's doing. But Paul Pogba in that situation.
Eriksen also came from the Dutch system.
100%, but that's the thing. Like,
came from Ajax, bro. He played with that. The thing
that I give Mourinho more credit for than most people is the fact that
the Eagles,
but like also like you look at that team, he didn't get to buy any of those players. He goes, no, we're buying that. Like actually, I think the biggest thing was he didn't want Pogba. He's like, he's not going to fit in my system. I don't want him. They went, we're buying him, and you have to play him essentially if you buy him. So you're like, well, like, what's he supposed to do with that now? He's got to now deal with a player where he's like, he's not going to buy into my system.
Yeah. He got Ibra, got Lukaku, like.
Well, the one thing for me is like when he had Ibrahimovic, like that's the one thing I've seen that I've at least noticed with Pogba is like, oh,
you're not the biggest
big dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ibra humble you.
With France, it's Mbappe.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. Like it's like if Pogba walks into a team with Messi,
yeah,
to do a little bit more running, no problem. It's Lionel Messi. You know what I mean? It's for me, I've never understood the idea of like if you have that much talent, like how could you not just want to just absolutely murder people all the time with your athleticism? And like his skill is so outrageously good.
Yeah.
Mind you, you look at all the injury troubles that he has right now. Maybe part of it is how sore he is and how many knocks he's got that he doesn't want. Like that could easily play a part in it. But I look at that, I'm like, I would want to just break the will of everyone I play against.
Like Yaya Toure that one season in Premier League.
Again, though, you look at that and you go, how did you not just do that every year, man? Like you had the ability to do it every year.
Yeah, I'm telling you, obviously, these guys. Different. These guys are different gravy, bro. But yeah, I had to shout out Jose Mourinho back to back Europa. Like obviously Roma, there's not that many like super well-known players on Roma, but still a solid squad. The resurgence of Chris Smalling, Tammy Abraham,
Paulo
Paulo
Dybala.
Dybala. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just like, it's just cool, bro. And Roma always had that warrior mentality. So it's always dope. Like when they had Nagelon, bro, that guy was a fucking murderer on the field.
Francesco Totti.
Totti, yeah, bro. So
Daniele De Rossi.
yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to them, fellas. Shout out to Jose Mourinho. And yeah, that's about it. That's been going on. If there's anything else. Oh, Barcelona won La Liga.
Yep.
Well
And
done.
Man United are 1 point away from clinching Champions League football. Holy fuck. Fucking Firmino, 89th goddamn minute.
They just finished. Man, you just finished the game, right? They won?
Yeah, they won 1-0. So they're 1 point away.
All right.
1 point away. Can't relax yet.
Not at all. Nottingham versus Arsenal right now. What do you have for that game? Who do you have
for it? I mean,
we got to do our picks.
I feel like
let's do MLS this time.
Let's do it for next week.
To end it up. Let's end it up because the games are later, so we can do MLS.
Let's go next week though.
Next week?
Yeah, next week. That way when it airs.
May 27th. All right. TFC versus DC United. Oh shoot, they're already halfway through the season? No, they can't be.
No, they don't do that where it's like halfway.
Oh, it's not like okay.
I wish it would be so smart, man. Like,
yeah.
So you got Montreal versus Inter. You've got TFC versus DC.
Return of Kamal.
St. Louis versus Vancouver. Kamal's return.
Yeah. Okay. Return of Kamal. Philly versus NYCFC. That's a rivalry as well. Houston versus Austin. All right, let's see. You want to do the Canadian games? 3 Canadian games?
Yeah, we can do 3 Canadian games. So do you want to go first? I went first last time. You can go first this time.
All right. I will choose St. Louis City over Vancouver Whitecaps because it's at St. Louis.
That's who I was gonna take.
Yeah. I say St. Louis City over Vancouver Whitecaps.
I'm gonna take Montreal over Inter. That's Saputo. I think I'm gonna take Montreal over Inter.
And then TFC versus DC. I think this is conflict of interest. So I think I think this is a conflict of interest. So wow. How many teams are in MLS? 34 now? 35? 34, right?
Let me take a look. No, it's only 29.
29? Bro.
30th just got announced.
San Diego. I literally just looked at TFC's like stats, matchup stats, and they have the lowest shots in the whole MLS per game. 29th. 7 shots a game. The lowest crosses, 2.7 a game. Granted, Bernadeschi's not really crossing the ball.
Starting to see some reasons here why it's so hard for them to put the ball in the back of the net.
5th place in passes. But anyways, I think this game's probably going to be a tie. Oh wait, TFC's at home?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. I want to go TFC win because I believe in them, but I don't know how much I believe in them. I'm gonna say tie. I'm on the fence.
You're gonna say tie.
I'm gonna say a tie. I'm on the fence, yeah, for real. That's crazy. And do you want to do CPL games? Who's playing this week in CPL?
So that week we've got Forge versus Atletico, Pacific versus Halifax, York versus Cavalry, and then Vancouver versus Valor.
Pacific versus Halifax, Vancouver versus Valor. Who's Cavalry versus?
York.
Where?
It is at York.
Yo. All right, you go first because I just picked.
All right. I'm gonna I will take Pacific to,
It's at Halifax, I'm guessing.
yeah.
I feel like
Oh,
Pacific.
wait, no, it's at Pacific.
I feel like
Oh, I
Pacific has
take-
not played
I'll-
an away game ever.
I'll take Pacific. I'll take Pacific to beat Halifax.
Pacific to be Halifax.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take Forge to tie Atletico because
Yeah.
they're going to play Montreal Wednesday.
I will take. Ooh, I'm gonna be at this game. I'll take. You know what? I'll take Vancouver to beat Valor.
Wow, at home.
They're at home. I'm gonna be there. I think like they get their first win.
First
Their
one.
first home win. First home win.
Oh, I respect it.
Because I mean, have they won yet? Yeah, they've got one.
So that's 3-3. That's 3 games each.
That's 3 games
3
each.
games each. All right. So I got the TFC, the Vancouver, and the Forge. And you got Pacific, Vancouver FC, and the
Montreal.
Montreal. No T. Just an R. All right. All right, yo. So this has been episode 17. Just shooting this shit with my homie and co-host Adam Jones. This is FTF Top Bin Talks presented by FTF Canada. And shout out to Marcus, who is going to be sad when Arsenal loses the league. It's unfortunate.
100% bringing him back on.
Yeah,
100%.
Shit happens, bro. I'm sorry, brother. But yeah, thank you guys for listening and hope you guys enjoyed the episode, man. Adam, thanks again, man. It's been fun.
Of course. Marcus might jump off a bridge after the Eagles, Arsenal, and then if LeBron gets swept here. Oh my God.
Oh, yo, that's a bad year for the man if that happens. Like it's like, you know, when you're almost there and you just slip at the end, like you're climbing up the it's like
And
wow.
back to base camp.
Literally start all over, bro. That's crazy. Wow. But yeah, great episode. Blessings. Now I gotta go help my mom.